East End civilians were now bearing the brunt of the war. Few of their houses had cellars. Every attack claimed many victims.
The worst period was the earliest period where we had no adequate facilities for shelter, and that created panic.
That was exactly Goering's strategy, to bomb his victims into surrender.
One communist councillor was responsible for opening the shelters. He organised a campaign. He got dock workers, ship workers, clothing workers, all demonstrating and saying the rich have adequate shelters, the poor have nothing. And as a result, the tubes would be turned into shelters.
London civilians suffered worst in the Battle of Britain, but they were determined to stick it out. The state of emergency became routine. The majority of Londoners spent the next 56 terrifying nights in the underground. Between September and November 1940, London was bombed over 300 times.
Well, when the bombs started dropping, I used to keep 2 children I'd carry. Mum would carry all the bedding, and the others would walk with the sandwiches or whatever we got away. We'd all go down Stratford Station, right down the underground, and walk sometimes for 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, sometimes longer. And we put all our stuff down and lay down and go to sleep.
After a few days, the raids were expanded to target cities on the English coast.
Dover was called Hellfire's Corner because of the continuous bombing and shelling that we had.
The German K5, the most powerful cannon of its time, with a range of up to 90 kilometers.
Well, that was on this very bad day, the 11th of September, and we was coming away, and one of my members of the crew, there was 4 of us in the crew, one of my members of the crew said, I heard a baby crying. I said, don't be stupid. He said, I did. So I said, right, everybody stop. And we just stood silent for a minute, and I also heard the cry. Well, the rescue squad was working further down the street, and sooner than call anybody, it was an emergency, and I thought, well, if the baby's crying, it's got to be saved. So I dug under the rubble of these 2 houses, and I had to move a lot of stuff, and I got this baby out. I think it was the only time I really cried in the war. I got this baby out, and her name was Jean Amos, and she was 6 months old. And that was, and then I felt that the war hit me more that day than ever before or ever since the rescue of that child.
Londoners braved the bombs, but they wanted their children at least to be safe. That meant evacuation.
I said to my parents, I think I should go away to Canada. And they said, why? I said, well, some of my friends are going, and it sounds great fun, and it would be a wonderful adventure. And my brother said, I want to go too. Well, by this time I was 15, and he was 9. And so I suppose my parents thought, well, I was old enough to look after him.
The evacuation trains left from Euston Station.
It was highly charged emotionally. A lot of parents were crying quite openly. And because the parents cried, the children cried. And my mother hugged me and said, you grow up to be a good woman. And I thought, strange. What I didn't realize at the time was that my parents thought perhaps they would never see us again.
The port of Liverpool. Here, the liner City of Benares was waiting to take 90 children to Canada.
It was wonderful. All the ships in the harbour put on their horns and all their whistles sounded for us. And we sang as we went down the River Mersey. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Cheerio, here I go on my way.
As 15-year-old Bess and her brother reached the open Atlantic, the pilots of the 54th German fighter wing at Guisnes in northern France were having their morning wash. They were naively overconfident. Word had it that Operation Loge was a week away from victory. Goering's staff were elated, and he was certain in just a few days the British lion would be tamed. A premature reward, a piece of tin.
Ja, und dann musste jeder melden, wie viele Abschüsse, wie viele Feinflüge, wie viele Abschüsse. Dann kam ich auch dran und bei mir, ja, ich hatte da, glaube ich, 13 Feinflüge, kein Abschuss. Wohin die Feinflüge? Ja, 5 nach London, ja, dann griff er in seine Tasche rein und dann kriegte ich das EK2 von ihm. Ja.
An officer's home movie captures the mood among the pilots, seen here with the ace Werner Mölders.
Pro Einsatz ganz klar war unsere Belohnung 2 Eier und eine Dose Schokolade. Und an dem Tag, wo ich 14 Eier bekam, wusste ich nicht, wohin mit den Eiern. Aber wir hatten einen guten Koch, der sagte, Herr Steinhöfer, da machen wir Schaumomlett für alle. Und so haben wir die Eier dann verspeist.
Goering expected something for his bonus, a maximum effort. Time was pressing. The Luftwaffe chief wanted a result. The deadline Hitler had set him was running out. On the 15th of September, the attack on London was the biggest so far. The Luftwaffe threw in everything that could fly and drop bombs. Meanwhile, the RAF had adapted to Goering's new tactics. The world's most advanced air defense system and an army of radar and intelligence specialists directed the defense. The duel began at 10:25. 500 German bombers, escorted by over 600 fighters, were met by almost 700 Spitfires and Hurricanes, more than ever before.
Nachdem ich erkennen musste, dass der Hilfsbeobachter Heinrich tot war und ich den Bordmechaniker Schulz rausgeholt hatte, der sehr stark blutete und der mir ja leider auch verblutete, da war man natürlich irgendwie außer sich, weil zwei, mit denen man eben noch zusammen war, mit denen man noch gesprochen hatten, dass die also für immer weg waren.
Das war wirklich so, dass ich sagte, jetzt ist vorbei, jetzt bist du 20 Jahre alt geworden, verwundet und so weiter, da ist nichts mehr. Ja, und dann ein paar Minuten kam ein Arzt, englische Uniform, Luftwaffenuniform, hat dann den ersten Notverband gemacht und dann kam ich zur Operation. Und in den Medien wurde natürlich in Deutschland auf England Hass ausgesät, selbstverständlich. Ne? Und ich habe es anders erlebt, die Engländer. Korrekt, in jeder Hinsicht korrekt.
Ulrich Steinhilper's experience was different.
Nach 3 Tagen kamen wir in einem Verhörlager an und schon der Empfang war entsprechend. Mir wurden die Krücken weggerissen. Ich wurde gleich am Anfang vor dem Verhöroffizier nackt ausgezogen. Also ich erwartete absolut, da um mich herum englische Soldaten mit Augapflanzern bei Netzwerken, dass ich umgelegt würde.
That didn't happen. The 15th of September was the black day of the Luftwaffe. Its aura of invincibility was lost. Hitler was angry. Feeling that Goering had deceived him, he ordered all all daylight attacks on London will cease immediately. That